Well, hello everyone. I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US, and it's time for Paper Pumpkin. We're going to do a live paper crafting class with Paper Pumpkin. This is the July 2026 Hooray for Birthdays kit that we're going to feature today. I have so many ideas with this kit. Last month, I had like a busy schedule and just so much going on. And my creativity wasn't what it usually is with the June kit. So I apologize on that, but I have just tons of ideas coming, like they keep coming. This is a really, really fun kit. I hope that you enjoy the alternates that I share. So what I like to do is I like to take the kits, the Paper Pumpkin kits from Stampin' Up. This is a box representing the kit. And I don't create following the directions, but you totally can. Everything is provided that you need. You have your inks, you have your adhesives, all the paper that's pre-cut and scored, ready to go, the directions, everything. You have everything in there except like a scissors if you need a scissors or something. So these boxes are like you can travel with them. You can put them in a closet. You don't even have to have a craft room in order to use Paper Pumpkin kits. But since day one, March of 2013, I have been creating alternates. I've been taking the contents of those kits and showing other ways to use them so that people who subscribe to Paper Pumpkin kits can see other ideas and have other options in case they don't like the option that's suggested. Okay, so I hope that you enjoy. Yes, I'm wearing the hydrangea hue top, Terry. Oftentimes I try to coordinate what I'm wearing with what I'm going to share. So thanks for noticing. All right, let's go to the desktop and take a peek at part of the contents of this kit. This one is again, Hooray for Birthdays. You have enough supplies in here to make 3 of 3 different kinds. So there's 3 of this, 3 of this, 3 of this, okay? In here you can see you've got directions, you've got adhesives. This one came with little mini dimensionals and glue dots and even tear and tape, which is awesome. You get a stamp set, you get an ink, a little ink spot they're called, and then you get the consumables. This is a third of the consumables. All of this here plus a bit of this will make all 3 different cards. This here is a sheet of a whole bunch of little sentiment strips. You don't need all of them for the cards. I think there's like 19 on here. And then this also covers all of the cards. These are like stickers and they're sturdy. They're like cardstock stickers. So I didn't want to like cut these up and I don't know. I just thought I'd represent a third of the kit with this, plus you'd get a third of each of those. Okay, so I'm going to set these aside and put those over here. And we're going to bring in some things that I like to supplement my kits with when I'm creating for you on these videos. Actually, that I'll share later. Timid Tiger, same color. I like to substitute for a larger ink pad when I'm demonstrating. I also bring in my own adhesives because I have plenty. Dimensionals, I use 2 different sizes, the regular and then the mini. I also like to use my Stampin' Seal, although the tear and tape is amazing. I often will use glue instead of glue dots, but I am bringing in a sheet of glue dots that I've already started, so I will be using those as well. These, by the way, are really cute Country Hive holders from the Country Hive. You'll want to check those out. Okay, let's move those aside. As far as tools go, trimmer, scissors, bone folder I like to use, take your pick tool. There's a few basics like that. And then consumables, I try to use very few when I'm demonstrating and showing alternates with the kit. So, no, I'm not going to show you that. Okay, hang on. Let's do this first. Okay, so I'm going to bring in the sticker sheet again. And with this sticker sheet, I've cut out one of the words. And then what I'm going to do, and you can see I've already used up those little pieces there, is I'm going to peel away the outside or negative portion of the sticker in case I want to, I would peel it away if I'm going to throw it away, okay? But this is going to be a little tip for adding your words to your cards because even though they're very sturdy and strong, they're sticky and sometimes you can have issues with the actual image getting kind of pulled apart and stuff. So I'm gonna grab a few of these little insides out of here also, just to make it a little easier to grab. Okay, so we're getting all the insides of the P's and the A's, and probably should have done that beforehand. I'll stick them all on here. Now, if you don't want to ruin this part, you could actually cut around that and use that on an alternate too, right? I'm going to throw that one away. I have others to choose from. Okay, there we go. So we have a clean sticker ready to go. Now, the reason why I suggest this, if you're having trouble with holding the sticker as is because you can then just isolate that sticker like this by peeling this back. And now you have something to hold on to that's not sticky. I'm holding on to this instead. And I can add it to my, oops, hang on a minute. Where am I adding it to? I'm adding it to this. Let's put it on the Stampin' Pierce mat and let's zoom in just a little bit so you can see better. Thank you everybody for saying hello and chiming in. We don't have Trisha with us today. She could not do today. So I'm going to try really hard to catch comments with questions for sure as we go. Okay, so I'm going to peel this back and I'm actually going to fold it just to kind of make it flatter. And then I'm going to position it where I think it will work on this layer here. Now, another thing before I stick this down, I do want to tell you that Stampin' Up! Does this sort of thing on purpose, especially when we used to have wood blocks for our stamps. They would make a lot of sentiments a little more whimsical or scripty so that when you do put them on your project, like, you know, putting a sticker on the project, it doesn't have to have a super straight look to it, right? It makes it easier to have, here, I'm going to go up a little higher. Makes it easier to have, to accept that, you know, it's not perfectly straight. See how that works? So you can do it like that, okay? I hope that helps some of you who've been struggling with those thin type of stickers. We're going to stamp onto this piece. Happy birthday wishes, I think I'll put on there. We'll use our Timid Tiger ink. We'll just stamp that onto one of these little sentiment strips. Okay, so I have that ready to go. And then I'm going to put that onto dimensionals, mini or regular. We'll just use regular because then we can use less. So hello everybody. I love that Beth used the butterfly emoji. Okay, we're gonna put that on like this. We're just covering up a little bit of the loops on the P. There we go. So birthday wishes, happy birthday wishes. Isn't that cute? Then we can decorate all around it. We can put our flowers on there. We can put whatever we want on there. Let's pull in our flowers. One thing I want you to know is that you have a white side to all of these die cut pieces. So you could actually have white flowers instead of orange or pink or blue, just in case you're interested in doing that sort of thing. I'm going to grab a couple leaves too, and I pulled those from this section here. So all I did was take this piece here, and they're very easy to pull out for those of you that are new to paper pumpkin. And you can just take and cut it into little sections, okay? So we've got some sections of that ready to go. I'm gonna bring, let's do a couple small flowers too. Let's do an orange one. No, I already have an orange. Oh gosh, this sheet is almost done. Let's do a pink one. And let's do maybe a bright pink. A bright pink. We'll do another orange. We'll do another orange. Oh, we have this light one. Let's do a light pink. There we go. Okay. Then you can build it up. So you lay out where you want your flowers to go. I'm going to add a blue one down here. Maybe I'll add it up here. The blue one down there, the orange one down here. Make it top heavy. And then we'll do, say, a pink one and a light pink one here. Okay, let's add these with dimensionals. So I'm just going to take the mini ones now, and we're going to flip those over and add that right to the center. Don't worry about the flowers that have holes. There's a couple of them that have like It doesn't seem like it's big enough. Where is one of them? Oh gosh, I've used all of these up, you guys. There's a few where you feel like the dimensional sticky part's gonna come through, but we're gonna put centers on the top of these too, so that'll cover up any holes. Let's do that one. Stick that kind of underneath like that. So has everybody gotten their kits by now? It is the 22nd of July, 2026 as I'm coming to you live. And I didn't even ask if you have your kits yet. If you have your kits, say something in the comments. If you've already created with them, tell me that. If you don't have your kit yet, you can say something about that too. But just know that sometimes the kits come between the 15th for some people who are really lucky, and like the 23rd is how late I've gotten them sometimes. So don't fret if you don't have your kit yet. Okay, let's take and add a few of these in there, and I'm gonna curl the ends of my petals and just kind of tuck them here and there. I'm gonna tuck it in there. And because I kind of cut this one apart, I'm just gonna use glue. So let's put a little bit of glue using the precision tip bottle. And we'll stick that right under like that. Hold it down. Yay! Just got it yesterday, Nancy? Okay. It's hard when they're delayed. Got mine, can't wait to make. So have any of you made with yours yet? I don't see anyone saying that they've created with them yet. Let's put some more leaves down. Let's do this one. This one's not going to have as many as the finished one that I'm going to show you in a minute, but I have two different versions, and I'm making two different versions on purpose because we're going to have a couple cards. Okay, press that down in place. Let's put some centers on those flowers. So I'm going to move this away, bring in the sticker sheet again, and we'll add some centers. We have medium size, we have small size, and we have large. Always delivered by the 27th. Oh, Marie, you have to wait longer than I've ever had to wait. I'm sorry about that. And you know what? Those of you that are in Europe, I hear that there's delays. I'm so sorry about that. So that's not fun. But you know what? Once it comes, it just brings so much joy, right? So there's our happy birthday wishes. You can fancy it up more or less, or however you want to do it. But you have lots of options, right? So I have a couple different versions here. Hooray, it's your day. Happy birthday wishes. You can see on the other one, I've used black ink. So I've brought in black ink for that one. Let's now move to this pile. I have my stages in the back there where I'm staging everything, I should say. Okay, so now this card creates easel cards, or this kit creates easel cards. Easel cards go like this, all right? So there's a fold in the middle, a fold here, and then no fold on that side. This is the way all your bases come. They come with fold in the middle, fold here, and no fold on the back. So you have options. You don't have to just make an easel card. You could make, I like to turn it this way, a Z-fold card. Z-fold cards are fun. You can do cards where you have it's like a little step thing here where it sits like this. I like to put something back here though too, so I would mount this onto another folded piece so that it's like a two-tiered kind of like a mountain there, right? Making a giant M. Gosh, you could make it, the Z-fold go this way too. And then there are, let's see, there's other cards. We're gonna put another fold here, and I'm gonna show you how to do a special fold for that one. And then we're gonna turn this in on itself and make a special fold like that. So we're gonna do a few folds here. We're gonna start with the Z-fold, and I think I'm gonna do, that one's gonna be pink. Let's do blue on this one. Let's do blue on this one. Do I have my finished version somewhere? Where did I put it? Oh gosh, oh golly, gee whiz. Oh, that's because this was going to be my finished version. Okay, so I have, I think, I don't know. I don't know what I've got finished and what I don't. Oh, thanks, Nancy. Yes, thumbs up if you are enjoying what you're seeing here. Okay, kind of being wishy-washy though. So we could put that on there. We could put this one on here. We're making this into a Z-fold card. When you do a Z-fold card though, you have an inside layer right here that is sort of exposed on these outer areas here, and you don't want to write in the wrong place. So what I did is I took and traced this shape before I added all the flowers and stuff. I traced it onto a scrap of envelope. I didn't do this side. This side has the shiny little shape on it, right? Instead, I used this side, traced it with a pencil, and I just went and then cut it. That's all I did to get this piece that is now the same size as this one. For the more rounded ones, which look like this one, we have a rounded shape like this, and then there's an oval. Let's see if I can find the oval. There's an oval piece like this. It just takes a little bit more patience as you're cutting, because you can't use like a straight cut with a scissors or a trimmer. You'll just have to, you know, maneuver it a bit more. So let's pick one, all right? We're gonna go with either one of these, and we're going to stick it down. Where did my inside piece go now? Oh, it's underneath this. Okay, so we're gonna stick this down first. We're gonna put that on the inside like that so that it's centered in this space between this score line and this edge. So let's go ahead and put that down with some adhesive. If you want to, you can stamp on it first. Just in case you mess up, you can flip it over, especially if it's like a thicker cardstock. This is a thin envelope piece, so if you stamp on it and make a mistake, you're actually gonna see through probably to the other side. We have grid lines on our card bases this month, so that makes it easy for making everything nice and straight and lined up. So stick that down like that. And I think I'm gonna use this one on here, okay? We'll save this one for the next card. So we're gonna put this on here, but I wanted to have a bit more dimension. So I'm going to put dimensionals, and I should write sticky notes in my supplies. I'm gonna put some dimensionals on the back half here, okay? And I just stuck a sticky note there to remind me. I can take and kind of eyeball where that sticky note is. Just get those dimensionals in the right spot. We probably have enough. I'll just do one more there. I'm not gonna do one, I'll do a little one. Do a little one right in here just to give it some stabilization, but I have some dimensionals in this corner, and I don't like double dimensionals for mailing cards. I like to just be one dimensional thick. So peel those off and stick those off to the side. Okay, we're ready. So let's take and line this edge up with this background layer here. You can even go beyond it if you want to. Not by much though, or your front piece won't be centered either. And there we go. So there is a finished Z-fold card with an inside piece. Now, if you are using your envelopes in this way, you're gonna have to replace them. So then you'll want to have an investment in some of these basic white envelopes. These are our medium-sized envelopes, and they will easily, as you can see, fit the card bases, okay? Any questions on this card? Very basic, very easy. You can do a Z-fold card with any of the bases, okay? Let's move on to another kind of fold. And for that one, I'm actually going to do some cutting. We're gonna first put a score line in here, then we'll trim. You like that? Thanks so much, Ruthie. Okay, we're gonna move this out of the way. You can see how we have a center fold line that's at 5.5 inches because this whole piece is 11. So we have a score line at 5.5. We also have a score line between those two, the score line and this outer edge, which is at 2 3/4. So I'm just going to demonstrate that on the trimmer. There's my score line there at 2 3/4. and here's that score line, and then the next one's at 5.5. And we're just going to turn this around so we don't have to memorize 3 measurements. Just remember those 2, flip it around and do 2 3/4 again. 2 3/4 using only the scoring blade. No questions? Oh, thank you, Heidi. Okay, next, after we put that score line in there, you can see we've got that M look again, okay, that I was talking about earlier. Here's an M look, but we're going to trim off 1/8 of an inch from each end. So we first score because then we can score at a nice measurement, and then we're going to trim on each end, okay? Thanks, Karen. Guess what? I am going to do double, triple, something with the kit like that in my next set of alternates. So yes, save 1/3 of your kit. I haven't come up with them yet because I just got crazy with the fun fold cards and the images that I saw from like the little sentiment pieces, and you'll see what I share today. Okay, we're going to trim off 1/8 of an inch. So there's one from that side, and then we'll do the same thing from this side. So now we have a slightly shorter, it doesn't come right to the middle, right? Okay, now we're going to take these pieces and we're going to add adhesive to them. So I think I'll do that on a dark surface on my Stampin' Pierce mat so you can see. No questions. Okay, I keep looking up thinking maybe there are some questions so far, but we're all doing great. Okay, so I'm going to put these 2 together just to be on the safe side, but I'm going to use my little precision tip bottle here and just do a thin line, really, really thin line, if I can get it to come. There we go. Thin line of adhesive here, thin line of adhesive here. Put them next to each other just so they're easier to hold. Okay, and then we will take and lift one up, and we're going to add it to one white edge like that, so that you have a little bit of white exposed on the outer part. This didn't get a whole bunch of adhesive down here, so hang on. Okay, so it looks like that, a little bit of white exposed, and then we'll do the same thing with this one. Stick that down. The one that I have that's already done, I actually put the 2 pieces next to each other and then tried to run seal adhesive, but this is wider than 2 of those strips, and so then it got kind of messy. So I decided to just use glue this time. Okay, and then we're gonna flip that over. Actually, no, we're not. We're gonna keep it this way. We're gonna bring our piece in that we've created. This one I think I created this one with you. Okay, so this one's gonna go next. And then I just need a scrap of cardstock. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of basic white just from my stash of cardstock that I have. It doesn't even have to be white. It's not gonna be seen. You can do whatever scrap you want. This one measures about 1.5 inches. Let's do 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, okay? Then we're gonna score halfway, which is at 3/4. And then we're gonna cut. Turn it halfway and cut, which is at 3/4 in the other direction. It's easy when you start with a square, then you don't have to memorize too much. You're just basically making 2 little folded pieces of cardstock that are about the same size. Next, we're going to put adhesive onto these pieces. And then we're gonna, let's invert these folds. Let's make the folds go the other direction. So we're gonna fold in this direction, crease it, fold in this direction, crease it, and then we're gonna fold back in that direction that it naturally had from the kit. So this is gonna become the front of our card. It's a fun fold card, as you might guess. And then we're going to put adhesive onto these 2 pieces all the way on both sections. Got a little adhesive on there, sorry. Okay, so these are both sticky, super sticky. We're gonna fold them with the sticky side out, and we're gonna put one down on the right side of that fold. We're not putting it right on the fold, but just to the right of it. And then we'll do the same thing with the other one. we'll put that one on this side of the fold. So this is a pop-out fun fold card. All we have to do now is like eyeball where this score line is and where this score line is. And when we put this on here, we want it to be centered between those two score lines and between the top and the bottom. Actually, probably, no, yeah, between the top and the bottom. Okay. The first one I did, and you can see it's starting to come close together here, so just flatten it down. You may even want to use the bone folder before you put adhesive on. And then come right down on top of it, and let's flatten it in place here. I'm looking at my score lines. Okay, press it in place and see what happens. Those little pieces right there act as the mechanisms for making this thing pop out. It's so fun, you guys, so easy. And these get tucked underneath like that to hold the card flat. Both the blue and the pink color are light enough where you can just write on them if you want to. So I would just take and put to Annika, happy birthday wishes, love, Rachel. You know what I mean? Like you can just sign it right on the card. Another thing that you can do with that is you can add some extra embellishments. So I'm going to show you another version in just a minute, but let's grab the embellishments that I thought were kind of fun with this kit. It's not the exact same colors, but hydrangea hue blue is in here. Then we have a nice light pink, a blush pink that goes pretty well. I don't think it's the same. Let me look here. Darling Duckling hydrangea hue. Oh, it might just be a light version of Melon Mambo on this card. And then we have this pink, which is Barely Blush. Barely Blush, okay. Golden Glow, which isn't the orange color, it isn't the yellow, but it's kind of a mix between in the kit, so it works well there. This cantaloupe color here goes pretty well with the light Timid Tiger. And then this green, even though it's not the exact same green, it's a green, and greenery in nature can be all different shades. So I just thought that this was a fun embellishment sheet to bring in for embellishing. Let's take our Take Your Pick tool. And I think on this one, I'm going to add some pink. The other one I have blue. So let's add some pink. I'm just pushing to lift, to kind of move this on the surface of my little plastic sheet here. So I'm pushing and then shoving it, and then it just grabs onto the end of the Take Your Pick tool. We'll grab one there, one here. We'll do another one, oops, down here. Okay, there we go. That's that. So our finished card here, our second finished card, looks like, oops, it's catching on the leaf. It's catching on the leaf. It looks like that, okay? So a little pop-up card. Here was our first card that we did. This is our second one. And then let me show you a version of this same one using the same measurements, same idea. So there's that one. And I used the hydrangea hue embellishments for that. Birthday hugs and wishes, happy birthday wishes, hooray, it's your day. There's so many fun words that are sentiments that you can put on your cards. This one, I just added the leaves nice and flat. There's a whole row of leaves that you can add to your cards, and then I picked all the small flowers. I basically did this the same way that they suggest on the, here it is, the direction sheet here. It's the same exact look as that, but I just put it onto the base, the card base, in a different way to give it something unique. Okay? All right. So there's that. Thank you, Trevlin. All right. I'm trying to see if there's any questions. You love this one? Oh, thanks, Susan. All right. So we're going to move these off to the side, and let's move on to the next one. So the next fun fold card, I'm going to use this base here. And for this one, I am going to trim off 1/4 inch on the folded half after we score. So we're going to do the same kind of idea, but we're going to put 2 extra score lines in here. So between this score line and this score line, it's 2 1/8 inches. Between here and here, it's 2 1/8, because 2 1/8 plus 2 1/8 is 4 1/4, which is where this sits. we just have to remember that we want to go 1 plus a tiny little mark beyond the score line, okay? So 1 inch plus a tiny little mark, and that tiny little mark, if we zoom in, is a 1/16 of an inch. That's 1/2 of an 1/8. We want to go just 1 mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my cardstock in like this so you can see it really well. And right now you can see it's 2 1/8 inches from this score line to the edge. We're going to shift this to 1 plus that 1/16 of an inch. We're going to just put a score line right there, and that will fold that piece in half. Okay, so now we have one of our score lines added. Then we're going to move from here to 1 inch and a 1/16 in this direction. So it's easy to remember 1 and a 1/16 here, but we're starting at 2 1/8. Okay, so we just have to do a little bit of math. It's going to be easy. We're going to go 1 full inch plus a little mark. Okay, so 1 full inch from 2 1/8 would be 3 1/8 plus 1 little mark. So let's move first to that inch, and then let's move to that mark, and that should take us to where we put our second score line. And now we have this whole section divided into 4 equal parts. You can see that on there, okay? Did Australia get theirs first? Wow. All right. Yes, you could totally put this in a junk journal. The little flowers and everything, so cute, right? Thanks for that idea. Okay, now I'm going to fold everything inward. We're folding everything inward. We're going to make a little tunnel or a pillar, okay, or a column. I've called it a column on a fun fold card that I created similar to this with the Layering Leaves stamp set years ago, a couple years ago. We're going to cut off 1/4 of an inch though, because we don't need all this. Actually, we're going to cut off a 1/2 inch. I think we're doing a 1/2 inch. Yep, we're doing a 1/2 inch. Because all we need for this last section, now that it's scored, is just a little bit to add adhesive to, because that's the part that gets tucked under. You can see it gets tucked under. So why make all that pink go away? Let's cut off a 1/2 inch. And let's decorate the card a little bit more using that. Now you might say to yourself, oh gosh, you're wasting all of that. So you could totally just instead cut panels from this and put it on a basic white base instead if you don't want to use the whole piece. Again, you could just take and cut the sections out, make the base using the same score lines with a different color cardstock or, like basic white or whatever. And then you can decorate it up, and then you'd have this panel to use elsewhere. But I'm not worried about that because I buy too many kits. We're going to add this. We'll do this one first. Let's darken the surface of the table again. We'll add that with some seal adhesive. You could use your tear and tape in the kit. This will add right to this side. And I don't know why I flipped it around. I just like the look of the grid on there a little bit better that way. And then this one, you can see it might be a little tough to stick on there, right? Because now it's shortened. It's not going to give you that exact half. So what we want to do is we want to use our bone folder, which, oh, there it is. I found it. And we're going to make everything nice and sharp. So all these folds are going to be nice and sharp. Every single one of them. Okay. Then we're going to flatten this way, and you can see it's only going to attach right in that spot there. We can attach it with the card in a flattened position. So let's open it up, add our adhesive, fold at that same spot, which happens to be 1 fold in from the middle. This is tucked under, and we're sticking it down like that. Before you press it too hard, you're going to go back the other direction. And you're just going to go back and forth to make sure that it's pressed in the right place, okay? And that all your score lines are pretty even. Now you have your column fold, okay? Then you can decorate this up. Oh, and before you actually stick that down, let's peel this away. Hang on. What's a junk journal? A junk journal is basically like a notebook, a journal that you put photos into and journaling, but then you decorate it up with pictures, coloring, tickets, etches, things that you cut out of stuff. It's scrapbooking in the term of scraps. Like you use all kinds of things to make it fun to look at, right? So it's not necessarily a neat, clean thing. It's more real artsy fartsy. Does that make sense? Something else that we're gonna do is we're gonna add this in here. I forgot to do that. So this is just another panel. And I guess that's why I like sticking with the white card base, because the white card base is the same white as this piece. And if I were to use a different color, it might conflict a little bit. But we're gonna stick this in here so it's just touching that pink. And then the base of it is parallel to the score line here. That's getting stuck in there. And now let's re-adhere. Let's put some adhesive on here again. Flatten it down and fold back and forth. Okay, that's what I forgot. I forgot to do that fun little piece in there because that is gonna be kind of like a focal point. And then we're gonna take our little, let's see, where did they go? They're the, here, I have one right here. These little guys, and we're gonna cut it in half. You can do that by hand if you want to, but I wanted mine super straight. So I first measured it and it's a little beyond 2 inches. It's 2 3/8. So to half that, to cut 3/8 in half, basically you just take the number on the bottom of the fraction and double it. 3/8 in half is 3/16, okay? So we're gonna shift that. Half of 2 is 1, so 1 3/16. There's our halfway point, okay? Hold it steady, cut it, and now you have 2 equal halves. Pretty equal, visually equal. Then we're gonna take one of our stamps from the kit. This one says Hugs and Wishes, and we're gonna use some early espresso ink now and ink that up. Hugs and. So I'm omitting. You can also mask your wishes, you know, like put tape on there and then ink up your whole stamp, but I'm omitting getting that W inked up. I just want the hugs and we're gonna stamp that onto this piece so it's pretty centered. Pull it away. We're gonna clean this off. And then we're gonna make sure that that is clean by stamping onto our scrap paper. Yep, it's clean. And now we can take our second white piece and we're gonna ink up just the word wishes. Inking up just that. There we go. This time we wanna have that shifted a little bit to the right because we have to kind of tuck it a bit. I mean, you don't have too much room to move, but there's our wishes, and let's clean that off again. Okay. We can take and add this one to the inside of our card. Just put seal adhesive back there, and I'm just gonna tuck a little bit of it so that we don't see the end of it, and then I'll just get tucked right in here. And then you wanna just make sure that it's looking, you know, parallel to the top and bottom of the edges of the card. And then this one, we're gonna stick right here. And a little bit of it hangs off, so don't put adhesive across the whole back, just a back, you know, across the back left. And when you stick it down on here, you're gonna see that there's a little bit of that banner there. So we wanna at least cover that up. You can bring this all the way to the edge here, or you can have it come out more. It looks like it's gonna cover it up if I even just put it right to that edge. There we go. Hugs and wishes, okay? This is where you would write, right below or above the word wishes, because this is closed, this is open. There's not a lot of writing space, but then you can decorate this up with your dimensionals and with your leaves, and you can even add a little bow of, let's do it, linen thread. Linen thread is one of those embellishment, textile kind of embellishments, like ribbons kind of thing. This is in a lot of paper pumpkin kits. Eventually over time, you're gonna have tons of rolls of this. And I'm just grabbing a length, probably, I don't know, 20 inches of it, and folding it in half, and then taking and tying a bow, pretending like they're all one piece, and I'm just tying a bow, so like a double bow, right? So just kind of gives it a very fun frilly bow look. And we're gonna take and cut this one so that we have two ends. If it doesn't look even to you, you can go ahead and, like, you know, even it out and retie it or whatever, but you would stick that up here somewhere just to kind of add some frill. I'm going to show you the finished version. Here's the finished version of that card. On this one, I added pearls as the, oh, I'm really close, aren't I? I added pearls as the accent embellishment. So there's that. So I stuck that on with dimensionals. When I was doing this upper part, I would open and close this just to make sure it looked pretty closed and nice open. You know what I mean? Like, it just had to look good either way. So I tucked leaves under there, again, cutting the leaves into sections. Here's where I stuck my linen thread bow, was underneath the petal of that flower. All flowers are up on dimensionals. All leaves are stuck on with either glue dots or glue. And then, of course, I've got the flower centers in there. This one here, actually I lied. This one's on there with a glue dot. So it's not on there with a dimensional. That's the only one that's lying flat, but these other three flowers are up high. And I guess I stuck that up on dimensionals. So the word hugs and is up on dimensionals. As you can see, there's a slight shadow in there. Let me zoom in so you can see better. There's a slight shadow underneath there. So that's another fun fold card that you can make with the score lines that are already in these cards that the kit has. Okay, let's go on to, let's do this one next. I have so much to share. I am just having fun with this kit, you guys. Okay, this is a mini album. And what I did is I used black cardstock for extra cardstock layers, and then I just used the envelopes. So let's take a peek at just using the envelopes first and how that's gonna work. You love the column fold? Thank you. Yes, Tracy says, it's a great way to, Paper Pumpkin is a great way to basically build up your glue dots, dimensionals, linen threads. There's a ton, and they add up over time, and you have this tiny little container of fun things that you want to use on all your future kits, right? And then the ink spots and the stamps you can continue to use. Those things don't get used up, right? So you can continue to use those. I know that we've had black ink pads in the past, early espresso pads in the past. Timid Tiger is a new color. Melon Mambo we're going to use today, and a couple other colors. So you can go from, you know, past Paper Pumpkin kits to find other colors of ink if you'd like to do that. Thanks. All right, so for this mini album, I'm using 4 of the envelopes. You can use 8. Actually, you can use all 9 if you want to make your mini album bigger, but you could get 2 mini albums from one kit if you decide to substitute those envelopes for regular envelopes, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and fold the flaps back in the opposite direction, not the direction that you normally would for sealing your envelopes. They're all going back the other direction, and then we're going to stagger them. We have an oval, we have a 6-sided shape, we have another oval, and we have another 6-sided shape. Okay, we're going to lay them in this order. So I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to take this one here on the back, and I'm going to tuck it into the opening of that envelope. Then close that and take this flap and tuck it into the opening of that one. Then take this flap and tuck it into the opening of that flap. Then this one, I'm going to try to tuck into here. So to do that, we're going to just kind of open this thing up like that. And we're gonna make this open just a little bit. It's sliding away from the flap that it was already in. And we're going to do kind of a little tuck in like this. Okay, and then hopefully it didn't go away. Yep, it's good. Then we just kind of shove it together. And now we have kind of like this infinity album. It just keeps on going, right? You can decide which flap you want to be the front of your album. I think I had this one as the front last time. I don't know. Anyways, there it is. It's going to have a little bit more of a fold, a harder fold, like a thicker fold, I guess, because it's going all across all of your envelopes. So the thicker, the more envelopes you add, the more stress you're going to have on this flap that got tucked in. It's going to be, you know, a little bit more curvy, right? Okay, so there's that. Then I took cardstock, basic black cardstock, because I know that colors that are pastels like this just pop against basic black. And I thought it'd be fun to have basic black within the album. They're not going to be against it in this particular album, or maybe they will. Maybe we'll change our mind as we're doing this live. All right, so for these are cut to photo size, true digital photo size. They are 5.5 by 4 1/8. So 5 3/8 by 4 inches is what I have found when I pick true digital for developing my photos. I've found that they come to be that size when they get printed off. And so that fits perfectly inside this frame because this frame will be 1/8 of an inch bigger. So these little guys here are going to act as frame pieces that are loose and they're tucked into the envelopes like this. So these are areas that you can pull out and you can add photos onto. You can tuck them back in there. So it's a mini album that has pockets, okay? So these little guys just get tucked in here. You want to make sure that they're straight so they look good. You don't have to use the back one because the back one is the back of the album. But another thing is if you have that pocket, you might as well. If you don't want to have that pocket, I do want to give you another option here. You can take this flap here. Let's see if I can pull it out. Okay, you can take that flap and you can adhere it down. But this gives you the ability to have a fourth flap that's on the outside of the album. Let's go ahead and just close it up with the, because you've seen both ways now, so I might as well just close it up here. You can lick it or you can put adhesive there, but we're just going to close this down onto the back side of our album. There. So that's another way you can do it if you don't want to worry about the whole shifting that flap in there. Okay, so we do have at least 3 tucked photos. Then we can take these pieces, and I've cut these to, oh gosh, what size are they? I think they're 3 by 4 1/4. 3 by 4 1/4, and you can add them here. And they fit really well into this space here. If you want to keep that shiny little area, see that shiny outline there? You can leave this exposed and you can put words in there in black and shift your flowers to these spots. Okay, that's what my intention was originally. If you want to instead have another black little accent layer there, you could do that and just have your pretty embellishments on here or both. Maybe you put a smaller photo there. But my original intention was to put a photo mat here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So many options, you guys. Paper crafting, it's amazing where our creativity can go. It can go in so many different places, right? So there is that. I have a photo here, and actually I could put a photo on the back side of this one too because it's not stuck down. So I could I could put 1, 2, 3 photos in this album section. 3 times 3 would give me 9 photos for this mini album. Then these little guys, because they're within a book, I would recommend doing the glue dots instead of dimensionals. I mean, it's fun to have dimension inside of an album, but it's going to cause the album not to sit flat. Sorry, hang on. If you want a little dimension, you could always take and do some curling of your petals. And then when the book is open, those curls are naturally going to come up a little bit and create some shadow. But yeah, we can take and put this, let's see here. How do I want to add this in here? Let's go like that. So I think I'm going to stick that down like that, which means we are going to add a little bit of adhesive. And let's do this to make it a little quicker. I'm going to bring in my silicone sheet. I love this option for adding glue. My silicone sheet, my silicone brush. We're going to put some glue on here. All of the glue that I'm using is the same, by the way. It's the multi-purpose liquid glue that I've transferred into the precision tip bottle. If you're interested in the precision tip bottle, it is in my favorite extras. So is the silicone brush, so that if you need to go buy one, you can just go to my website at stampyourartout.com. There it is. And then click on shop and go to my favorite extras. Okay, I'm just gonna put some adhesive along the base of those leaves. See how I'm keeping it straight on there so that it doesn't move? Then I can take and lift it out of there, because we don't want any adhesive shifting to the back side of that. And then I forgot how I was doing this. I forgot how I was going to add this in here. Was it like this? Oh my goodness, Rachel. Totally forgot. It's okay, we'll just stick it down. Okay, there's our leaves. And then we can add our flowers, these flowers, if we have leaves kind of in awkward places, which we don't. I think we did it fine. More bone folding. So this one I won't finish all the way. You've always wanted to know. Oh, good, Beverly. I'm so glad that that helped you. I'm not going to finish this all the way on video because I have more projects to share with you. But this is one where I kind of I had it partway started, and I just wanted to show you, you know, kind of where I was going with this. And then I'll have pictures of the finished album on a blog post soon. So you'll be able to go visit there. I will add a link into the description of the video so that check back in like a day or two. It's not going to be today. I have some things that are on my schedule today. My parents are coming into town. So I will finish these up, and then I'll have photographs and the link to this video in that blog post. And in the actual video, I'll have a link to that blog post, okay? So you'll be able to see the finished album. And I'm not sure, that would probably be a really fun front, wouldn't it? That looks really gorgeous. But yeah, there'll be some black ink in there with some words, and then the accenting with the cardstock. I may even use these little strips. I don't know. I kept these scraps when I cut my cardstock down. I kept those scraps. We'll see. I'm going to put this off to the side. That's not completely done yet. Let me bring in this next idea. This next idea is not a finished card yet, but I was inspired by this card that I received from Liz Edwards. I received a card from Liz Edwards, and I've been hanging on to it because, first of all, it's beautiful, right? But I've been hanging on to it in my idea box because of these strips. And I thought, when I get a paper pumpkin kit that I have like lots of strip scraps from, I'm going to do something like this. So Liz, your card has inspired me. And we're going to do this little thing in the middle of it. So let me show you how to do that. You'll see the finished sample of that card with just little strips going across. But this I can teach you how to do real quick. Okay. So a little fence. It's made with those sentiment pieces. They are so fun. So all these little guys here, you can punch out 4 of them. And we're first going to, gosh, we're going to go over the hour again. I'm so sorry, you guys. We're first going to take and color this, okay? So I'm going to grab some scrap paper. Put that under here. I know this is scrap paper too, but I want it to stay clean because that's bugging me. I know it shouldn't bug me because it's scrap paper, but I don't want that there. I want my surface to be white while I'm demonstrating for you guys. When I craft alone, I don't worry about it, but yeah, and for some reason I'm distracted by that. So to get that background to look like that, and you can see we've got that shiny white outline on the outside, we're going to use blending brushes and ink. So that's the other 2 colors that I was mentioning that I'm going to bring in. Oh yeah, and we haven't used the Melon Mambo yet. Okay, so Granny Apple Green. Let's start with that. Granny Apple Green looks very close to, it's a little bit brighter than the green on the leaves, but the green on the leaves is what? What green do we have going on there? Old Olive. Old Olive is a little bit duller of a green and Granny Apple Green is a little brighter, but they do pair well together. Thanks, Terry. All right, you like it? Oh, thanks, Tina. Okay, so now we're gonna take and move this blending brush around in a circle just to kind of get some of the deep green off. And then I'm gonna start at the bottom and I'm gonna blend up into the card. And I'm gonna go, maybe I could go halfway up. I think on this one I didn't go halfway up, or maybe I did, I don't know. We're gonna get more ink on here, take off some of the excess and start again. Try to make that nice and smooth. And you're gonna see that the white shiny part is kind of getting dull. So now we grab tissue. Just grab any tissue that you've got and start rubbing. And you're gonna get some of that green off the surface of that white shiny area. And now look how bright that is, super bright. Yay, let's do that with the yellow now. So we're gonna use Daffodil Delight. The color of yellow that's in this kit, all the little insides of the flowers is actually Darling Duckling, but I do like my sunny skies to kind of have a Daffodil Delight look to them. So we're using a slightly different yellow, but it still pairs well. So again, removing the excess and then starting from the top and moving into the card. This one here, you'll really be able to see how that white up here, that shiny area kind of dulls as you're adding the yellow ink, almost like disappears it. Disappears it? Is that the proper way to say that? You can leave a white area in the middle if you want to, just to make the sky a little bright, but do you see how that got really dull at the top? So let's brighten that up again. See, no matter how I turn it, it's not super white. So let's brighten that up by rubbing away all the excess ink. And now you can see it's nice and shiny. Because these here, these lines on these white framed pieces, or these white shaped pieces, I should say, are embossed, okay? Those lines are an embossed type of shiny surface. Let's close up these and move them out of the way. Okay, next, oopsie, I almost stuck something in my glue. Next, we wanna add our picket fence. Now, you can do it in a really tough way and struggle through it, or we can just use this shape and the guides on the shape, basically the lines, and add them based on that. We have to first trim off the edges on the bottom of our strips. So let's take and bring the trimmer in. We're gonna bring this to the 2 1/4 inch mark, because remember they were 2 3/8. We're gonna move to the 2 1/4. So the top of the pokey part is at 2 1/4, and we'll trim. And you can do a couple of these together. In fact, let's see if I can cut all 3 of them together. Okay. So the picket fence is kind of going the opposite way of most picket fences. Most of them have a point at the top rather than an indent, but it still gives you that look. You could take, and I think I threw them away, but you could take and cut them vertically through the middle and then put 2 pieces, like this half on the other side, and then you'd have that pokey part in the middle. It's up to you, but I still think it gives it a cute look this way. So now we have our straight white fence pieces. Then we just take and flip them over. I don't even know if there's a back or a front side to these. And we put a couple dimensionals down, one towards the top, one towards the bottom. Oops, that's really too far to the bottom. And we're gonna add this. Sorry, hang on, I'm picking off the pieces here. We're gonna add this one so that it's right close to that white edge and it's connecting this corner with where that corner is, okay? See how that starts to fold there or bend in the other direction? So that goes like that. Do the next one. You're not watching the afterlive, Debbie. You're not watching the afterlive, you're actually watching live. Thanks for joining in. You've used, Vay says, I've used the pieces where I punched out labels. Yes, you could use those too. Use them on cards, flowers, so you can use like the little sticks in between for fences. Is that what you're saying? Okay, we're gonna add this on here and put that parallel with the side. So now you can see those kind of like started the fence edges, right? Then these two just basically have to get balanced out in the middle, you know, as equal as they can. So we're going to take and put dimensionals on the back side. And we're going to leave the dimensionals with the backing on it. Then we'll do the same thing over here. I keep wanting to pull it off. Leave the dimensionals on the back side. Then we can take and lay them where they look even. Grab one after you've evened them all out. Don't let this other one shift on you. And place that down where it needs to be. That's using the eyeball method, right? Very simple, very easy. In fact, I think I want to move this just a little bit more. And then we'll do the same thing with this one. Now we just have to place it right in the middle of the two that it's going to be right between, right? So just stick that down here. And then for the stick, for the wood plank thing that goes across the fence, we're going to use scraps. So we're going to take our flower sheet, and you can see I've flipped it over. Oh, we don't want to have that there. We need that one still. But these are all used up scraps, and I'm just going to trim right through the middle to get kind of a nice wide piece, maybe 1/8 of an inch or 3/16 of an inch, something wide like that. Okay, we've got that done. Then we can take and cut it into a couple pieces. This one has a little divot in it. We'll hide that as we cut that one here. I'm cutting it beyond. You can see it's cutting it a little bit beyond, and that's on purpose. So now I'm going to take and flip this over to the side that has the coloring left over from flowers. You can see there's a little bit of coloring on there from the flower side. This is the back side. This definitely has a back side to it. I'm going to lay it down in the middle here, and I'm going to use my precision tip bottle and just put a little bit of glue right into those spots where it's going to connect with the fence. Didn't put it all the way across, just in those spots. Center it, stick it down. If you need to, you can put it on your grid paper to make sure it's straight, but I'm just eyeballing it. Stick that down like that. Do the same thing. See, there's a little bit of blue from the flower side. You can see the printing on there. This is the back side. So we'll do the same thing. In fact, we'll turn it this way so I can hold it easy. Centered. A little bit of glue, a little bit of glue, a little bit of glue. So you don't need anything real fancy, you guys. Don't need to get your rulers out for this. Just eyeball. Eyeballing works. And that's about there. Oops. There we go. Then you take and trim. You flip it over and you trim, and then you stamp, of course, your hugs and wishes or whatever you want at the top, stick some flowers on there, and that's how you have that finished piece. This, again, I will finish up with those little extra strips from my kit, and I'll have a finished card to share with you when all of these photos post. We have one more. One more. You guys ready? Okay, that's gonna go over here. That's not really done, so I can't do that. Okay, I'm gonna bring in another piece of scrap paper. This one is the first one I created, so we cannot not do it. All right, zooming out so you can see, oops, not everything, but see a little bit more. Okay, any questions so far? Hopefully I'm not missing any questions. Okay, make that spot you don't like into a flower. Absolutely, Chris. Yes, if there's a little divot in your line, you can cover it up with a leaf or a flower or an embellishment. We always have creative ways to cover up things that we don't want anyone to see. All right, so now this card is unique and fun and inspired by this card that I received from Don Pomerang, okay? It's a card that opens like this, and many of you have seen this fold many a times. I don't think I've ever taught it, but we're gonna go ahead and make this fold. This particular card, you can see there's no place to really write here. So it's a kind of card where you write on the back, kind of like a postcard type of, you know, idea. But I thought it'd be fun to turn it this way and turn it into a cake. All right, so let's make it a cake because it's a perfect cake look. So we're going to give you some measurements now. For your basic white cardstock, you're going to have a base piece that is 4 1/4 by 9 1/2, and it's going to be scored at 5 1/2 inches and at 7 1/2 inches. Okay. We have 3 pieces that are going to become the tiers of the cake. This one, and this one. They become tiers of the cake. 1 1/2 by 3, 2 1/2 by 4, 3 1/4 by 5. And there you can see the scores at 1/2 inch, 2 inch, 2 1/2 for this one. 1 inch, sorry about that mistake there. Can you read these? Hopefully you can. 1 inch, 2 1/2, 3 1/2. It's kind of blurry. Let me zoom in. Zoom in and go down further. And then the last one is scored at 1 1/2, 3, and 4 1/2. So I have those already done here. Like here's the base. Okay, I've got my base done. I've got my large piece. I've got my medium piece. I laid them out like that. I should actually show you this first. I laid them out like this so that you could see how to cut them from one piece. So let's keep that put together again, and I'm going to zoom out so you can see the whole thing. Okay, let's put that back in place. So from one sheet of cardstock, you can get your base piece of white from here. That's your 4 1/4 by 9 1/2, scored at 5 1/2 and at 7 1/2. Okay, so this is actually going to go this way. So there's that. Then you have your larger one, which is the 3 1/4 by 5. That's going to come here. Actually, let's do this one next. This is your 1 1/2 by 3. That's up here. 1 1/2 by 3. That's the top of the cake. This becomes a scrap. Then from the bottom, you're going to cut the next one, which is 2 1/4 by 2 1/2 by 4. That's this one. That's your next tier down on the cake. That's why I put them in this order. I know why I put them in this order. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. And then this last one here for the bottom tier of the cake is your 3 1/4 by 5, scored at 1 1/2, 3, and 4 1/4, or 4 1/2, sorry. So that's the bottom tier of the cake. Then you have like these leftover little scrap pieces in here, okay? This is how much you have left over. I did use a strip from the 1 inch section here, cut it at 1 by 2 1/2 for a sentiment piece. And then I thought, oh gosh, maybe this back or this top big piece here could go on the back side of the card. So this measures 3 by 4 1/4. That's what you have left over. So you can get it all from one piece of cardstock. Let's move to the other measurements. Okay, that was all your white. Now for your background layer. We're gonna go to the background layer first. Your background layer, you're gonna cut from designer paper, and I chose the Country Woods designer paper because I thought it really showed off the pink well on the cake. So we're going to take and cut that to the measurements shown on here. We need a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece. So I'm going to cut that 4 by 5 1/4, and then you need a piece that is 1 3/4 inches by 4. Okay, so that all came from one little section here. I'm actually going to put it on the card like that. And then on your back side of your card, for where you're going to write, this layers onto this white piece here. So it's just 1/8 of an inch bigger. It measures 3 1/8 by 4 3/8. Okay, so that's going to go on the back side of the card. Cake layers. There are 4 of them, even though we only see 3 on that card, because this is actually going to become kind of a layer look anyways, even though it's not going to become part of this cake. So these three pieces are the smallest, and we have this piece here. I got glue on my hands. And then this piece here is going to also be the same color, just like Dawn has on her card. I stuck my fingers in the glue, you guys. All right, so from a scrap of card base, I'm going to cut what I need here, and it does have some score lines in there, so I'm going to try to watch those score lines as I cut. Cake layer number 1 is going to be 1 3/4 by 4. Cake layer number 2 is going to be 3 inches by 1 1/4. So let's see here. See how that is just like a little strip left there? I'm just going to trim that at the score line so that we don't have that in there. In fact, you can probably see it better on this side. So I'm going to trim that off. We can use that on some other card. So again, 3 by 1 1/4. So let's go ahead and, how big is this? Is this 1 1/4? Let me measure it this way. It is. Oh, good. Let's cut off that part because that's 1 1/4 already. So we'll cut from this one first. We'll do a 3-inch piece because we need one that's 3 inches. And then we also need one that is 2 1/4 and 1 1/4. This one's 2 1/2. Let's go ahead and do the 2 1/4. And then we need one more piece that is 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. And we could get that from this little guy here and save that big, huge chunk for something else. So that I can use on other cards. I'll set that over here. Let's do our 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 from this piece. All right. Lots of measurements. Hopefully writing them on little Post-it notes so you can see them helps. You know what I might do on my blog posts is I might just rewrite those measurements. Normally I don't. When I'm showing all these projects from one kit, I don't usually add measurements, but I think for this card I'm going to, because that's a lot to try to, like, you know, peer at. Okay, how does the card come together? It's going to fold like this. This is the base. It's going to fold like this, okay? And then we're going to have our little tiers in there. So we need to first put our layer, our background layer inside. We're going to go ahead and put adhesive on the back side. You can use glue, seal, whatever. Just make sure that it is on the inside with 1/8 of an inch all the way around. We're doing that here. And then we're going to add this one to the inside. We'll put that right here. And then I've got this layer here, which is the same size as this brown layer. We're going to go ahead and add that to the last panel because these two panels here are of equal size. So we're going to stick that down here like that. Okay, there we've started our card. This piece goes in next. Let's go ahead and do the sharp score lines again. Make them nice and sharp. And they don't make a complete box, but what we do have from here is the shape of a square that's almost finished. This one here, because this is longer, this is going to guide you as to where it's going to sit inside the card. So we're going to adhere this side first. So put adhesive onto that panel. This panel here. We're going to make sure that the card can fold and that it's centered between the top and the bottom here, or the sides. Okay, so we want that to lie nice and flat and centered and be tucked as far in without, you know, without going beyond. Don't go beyond that center score line. Okay, so that's that. Now we're going to fold it back in this direction and we're going to put adhesive here. One thing to note is if you have any kind of crookedness, it's going to make it difficult to have your card fold in the right direction. So we want to make sure that there's no crookedness to this piece. Looks pretty straight. Okay, I'm going to add adhesive here. And then we're going to tuck it like we did that column card, and we're going to flatten it down like this. And then before we press it, we're gonna make sure that the card can close. And you can see there's a little bit of a bubble or a gap. So we actually kind of have to shift it and flatten it this way, I guess. And then we can go back and forth. It's better that your card can close than open fully, okay? So if you can't get that fold to work, it's better that it can close, because all we're gonna do is open it up to this point. So it's sitting like that. So this one might not open fully with our fold. That's okay, but it should close. That's the key. Let's do this one the same way. So we're gonna tuck this one into that piece. We're gonna put adhesive, oh, let's do our folding with our bone folder. Forgot to do that. Do all of your creases nice and sharp. And we're going to add adhesive here. And we're going to tuck that, but you don't want it to go beyond, you don't want it to go underneath this. So you almost kind of have to go like, let's see here, like that, and check it. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I forgot. This is the way I did it last time. I'm pulling this off. Hang on. It's coming. Okay, we're gonna flatten it down this way, and I'm gonna add it so that this edge is right flush with that edge. So we're gonna add it like that, and it's centered. There we go. And that's still looking straight. We're gonna add some adhesive here. So we're adding all the tiers first. We're gonna tuck that. Actually, we're gonna tuck both of these folds. Tuck both of those folds, then flatten your card down and open it up. Next, this one here. Oh, thanks, Heidi. I'm actually feeling like I'm messing this up. Okay, this one's gonna go like that. So this is our panel that goes against this tier. We're gonna put adhesive on it. We're gonna open, and we're gonna add it right to the top so it looks centered between those sides like that, okay? And the bottom edge of it is flush with that score line. Then we can put adhesive here in that last panel. Fold, fold, press the card flat. Okay, there we have our tiered cake. And it could sit up like that. It's really cool. Then you would take and put these panels on. And I'm gonna show you, well, actually, I'll tell you a couple other things I did. So I stamped this with my sentiment. That got stuck on the card this way, and it went a little bit beyond this fold line because remember, it folds this way. So I just thought it'd be fun to have it kind of a little bit beyond for when it sits flat. Then you can kind of see it goes higher than the pink, okay? I did some stamping, and I actually stamped on my panels before adhering them. Forgot to do that, but I was trying to show you just the fold. But you want to stamp on these panels first. You're going to stamp with your flower that looks more solid, and you're going to stamp boom, 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 boom along the bottom of all of these pink layers. And on this one, you'll want to stamp kind of like a little, what do I want to call it? I can't even think of the name. Not even a half circle, but just like a looped, a curve. We'll call it a curve. A curve of flowers right in here. And then you end up with this. Okay, so here's the finished card. It opens up like this, and it sits like this. And now we're going to take a peek at all the details. So here's the stamping along the bottom with that one flower. It gives you the look of like dark pink frosting on the bottom of a layer. Here's the curve of flowers. I did both kinds of flowers on that one. Stuck those same embellishments, the in color, tiny little dots, I think they're called, inside. Stuck this up on dimensionals, this layer here. And then tucked some leaves in there, put some flowers on here with glue dots. Then I decided to get more elaborate up here, and I tucked some leaves in and around. And then I stuck a flower up on top because I could not have a swag, a garland. Oh, you guys, thank you. because I couldn't figure out how to make a candle from the pieces in the kit. So I just thought, well, let's just put a flower sitting up on top. So there's the coup de grace. No, I don't know. Here's the back side of that. It's your day. So yeah. So anyways, that's that finished card. And yeah, the video took longer than it should have. I'm sorry, you guys, 1 hour and 20 minutes, but let's bring in the other projects and take a peek at them one more time. I just kept going and I still have ideas. Like I've already got a page layout idea. I'm actually going to do it for the exclusives creatives group this time. So if you want my page layout idea, you'll want to make sure that you're grabbing that creatives tutorial bundle, whether it's through being a subscriber because subscribers get them free, or whether you're a team member because team members get them free. Let's open up this blue card. We'll have them displayed like this. That one and this one right next to it like that. I don't know. Can you see these? And then here's another one. There's the Z fold card. So, and then my team members get them for free, but you can also purchase them for $15 each, at least at this. No, actually, we're going up a little bit in price soon. I don't know when, but we have enlarged our group. We have, I want to say that there's 6 more members in our group now. So there might be a small price hike because of that, but just want to give you the heads up on that. It's still going to be totally worth it. Lots of exclusive ideas. Again, my page layout's going to be in there. And that's why I did a mini album for this one. You'll see that when I'm done with it. I didn't pull that into this little photo scene here. What else do I want to talk to you about? Past kit ideas. If you are interested in past kit ideas, visit my website at stampyourartout.com and you can go here, click on Paper Pumpkin. And when you're in that menu, you can go down to recent Paper Pumpkin posts, older ones, pins on Pinterest, which I got to catch up on, stamp set case inserts from your old ones. Join my Paper Pumpkin fan club. There's a fan club on Facebook. You'll want to join that to see tons of ideas daily. It's crazy, all the ideas that get shared there. It's so amazing. And if you're interested in getting kits, you can click on this link. It's sign up. And it gets you started on Paper Pumpkin. If you've never been a subscriber with Paper Pumpkin before, you will want to do that now. If you do that before August 10th is over, you'll be able to get the August kit for a discount. And I can't remember the exact discount. I want to say it's 25% off for your first kit. Here's a little peek at that August kit. There it is. Kindred Greetings. You can see how gorgeous the pieces are going to be for those cards. There's also a link in the video description. So if you didn't visit my website, you can click on the link in the video description to get connected with a subscription. And a subscription, just so you know, is not like a promise in our world. You subscribe just to make it easier to get those kits to come to your mailbox each month, but you can cancel at any time. You're not committing to a certain amount of months if you sign up for the month to month, okay? And signing up for the month to month is the one that's going to get you that discount, by the way. Okay, and that's for new people. What else? I think that's it. Upcoming lives. I have a whole mess of lives next week, you guys. The craft along is coming. We're going to be doing videos every day. September, July 27th through August 1st, every day. You'll see my calendar. The link is in the description of the video. Check that calendar for all the times of those lives. And this coming Friday, I'm actually doing an impromptu live because we have fun products that Demonstrators got to pre-order from September release items. And those are going to be shared. The ones that I purchased are going to be shared with you on Friday during a show and share video, along with some really fun swaps that my team is doing on Thursday night. 25% off. Thanks, Rose, for the confirmation on that. So I think that's it. I'm going to let you go, you guys. I hope to see you on Friday. If not, join me on the craft along next week. It's going to be a great time. And don't forget to come back to this video in a day or so to see the link to see photographs of all of the finished projects. But I hope that you had fun and got some creative inspiration. Thank you so much. And now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.